So this is an update to the figs that I was growing, and I did a small series on rooting fig cuttings. So I figured I would give you a update on the plants and how they're doing and how things are going. And there's not much to update other than the plants are alive. And I kept them in pots because I really don't know what else to do with them, because the reason why I did all of this to begin with is because they don't grow good in this climate up here, and because of that reason you have to grow them in some kind of pots and bring them indoors so the stem part doesn't die. I don't care about the leaves, we just don't want the stem to die. And if the stem dies, that means it's got to grow from the root system back up and grow big enough to be able to produce a stem large enough to produce fruit, and it doesn't work up here. So not with this particular variety of fig, and I'm not 100% sure what variety this is until I can get fruit off it. I'm not going to be able to fully know, so I don't remember which one it was when I bought it. But just wanted to show you how it was doing. Now that stem grew quite big. That was a tiny little cutting, and it grew quite big. It did very, very well. I mean, it's growing in a very small pot, so this is definitely coming in. Now, the other cuttings I'm going to show you in a second, but the other cuttings I am not going to bring in. I'm going to leave them out for the winter, and I'm going to seal up the pot so it doesn't evaporate moisture, because I'm not going to be able to come out and water it. So the other ones I am going to leave out. Just going to bring this one in. I'm going to put it in a larger pot, and so on and so on and so on. But you can see it's doing quite well. Now, it's not growing really huge, and I really don't want it to grow real huge because I may have to take this with me when I move, and I need it small, so I don't want to have to cut it if I don't need to. But it's got a nice size stem on it, as you can see. Look at that, gorgeous. It's, you know, finger-wise, it's about as thick as my index finger. And you can see it's very healthy. It's very nice green leaves, nothing to complain about. And it's got little bud on the top, and I'm not sure what the part of it is going to look, what the figs are going to look like. In other words, I really don't know. Some people tell me they come out of here, but I don't think I'm going to see figs off of this for this year anyway. Maybe next year we'll get some figs off of this, because we're going to keep it alive, put it in a larger pot, we'll bring it in, and we'll give it low light, and we'll see if we can winter it over without it shedding all its leaves, and we'll try to get this thing to make figs next year. Alright, so that's that one. That's one of the four that survived. I think I did four cutting. I did 4 cutting systems, and they all lived. Only 3 of them survived, and one of them died, and I forgot which one died. I think it was the one without the rooting hormone. You'd have to go back and look at the past videos I did on this, and I tell you which one didn't make it. But here's the other 3. Now, one or two of these plants, I had 2 cuttings of each, so it doesn't matter which one they were. It was just the one root cutting system that didn't work that was suggested to me. Actually, there were two of them that didn't make it. One of them was, somebody told me to cut the stem and then let the stem dry out for a couple of days and then plant it. That's what they told me, because it's less likely to get disease. That didn't work at all, so I don't recommend you do that. I just stuck these basically in water. They started putting out, it took them a while to put out roots, but when they finally did put out roots, they just started growing and growing. You could see in my last couple episodes, I've been growing these in my fish tank throughout the winter, and they were growing fine in the fish tank. They were very happy in there, in fact. But let's show you the rest of these plants now. This is one of the cuttings right here. That's one plant. And over here, you can see down below, one of the main stems died back, but in this shoot put out a new shoot from the root system, and it looks like it's got a little bud coming up right there, so it's going to put out another shoot. So don't worry about it. As long as one part of the plant is alive, you're okay, you know. Here's another plant back here. It's one of the other cuttings. That's doing fine. It actually looks like, wait a minute. I don't know. That's coming out of... That's all coming out of one stem, I think. This is one stem. That's this main stem here. Part kind of died off, but the root grew bigger, and it just put all these stems out. I thought there were 4 in here. Guess not. Here's another one. This one here. You can see it put out a stem. Here's a stem. Here's the main stem, and it looks like it's going to. See, it put out another little stem over there. So it's growing. It's growing perfectly fine. And of course, there's this one in the back, right there. I'm wiggling it, and that one's growing nicely, nice and big and thick and good, and it's going to look good. Hopefully, it makes it through the winter. In fact, I'm sure it'll make it through the winter. It's just the main stem might die on it, and unfortunately, I can't bring this in because I have a lot of these pepper plants that I need to bring in for the winter to keep them fruiting so I can get some fruits to do a review off it. But that's just a general look at the figs that I started from cuttings, and generally all those systems will work, I guess, is my final conclusion. You just cut the stem, as you've seen that I did. You just cut yourself a stem, stick it in a cup of water, and just let it root itself out, and eventually once they start rooting, plant it. Then don't do like I did in my fish tank, and I left it in the fish tank for months, right? Pretty much the whole winter. I don't recommend you do that. I only did that because they were growing well. I didn't really want to plant them in soil yet, and they were soaking up all the nutrients out of my fish tank, which is good. That's what I wanted to do. So I figured I'd just leave them there and not bothering me. But I don't recommend doing that. But once you start seeing roots come out in the water, just plant it and you're good. It's a very easy plant to root. There's really nothing complicated about it. So that's it. Now, as far as the variety goes, I don't remember what variety this is. I'd have to look for a tag that I bought the figs from. I don't remember if I bought these from Lowe's. I'd have to look. I need to look in my information as to what kind of figs I bought, because it's been, I don't know, 5-6 years since I bought these already, and they've never gotten figs off them because they never get big enough for them to produce fruit. The stem above ground always dies when spring comes. Always dies. It lives through the winter, but when spring comes, the whole stem dies and it puts up a whole new stem. Been doing that every year. So yeah, they're cold hardy to that point, but they're not cold hardy enough to keep the main stem alive. That was why I did all of that, and I wanted to pot it. But it turns out that you can cut, like if you want multiple trees on your property from figs and you like it, just cut the stem and stick them in water and let them root, and you're good to go. Alright, so hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.